Yo, 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 we are live. We are back. Once again, Real Talk with ReZsaun on your computer, cell phone, tablet, whatever it is that you're using these days. We here. We back. This is going to be a great interview. Another great opportunity to bring more great people to the forefront. We are in election season. So, I'm doing much more shows than I would normally do, but it's all worth it because the voices need to be heard of the people who are running so that we can make the best educated decision about who we're going to be voting for. And I also want to do this before I even get started. No, I'll wait till I get the show started because I want to send a special shout out because it's something that I'm seeing that I really enjoy and I really like, but I want to say that in the part that's not edited out. So let's go ahead and get the show cracking. And y'all know what we do. Please share. Dr. Kylon Middleton is my guest today. And with that being said, let's get going.
I knew that was something I needed to have.
All right, like in your heart, which is my
They are
book.
clearing the House of Information.
None other than one of those very heroes. So, for those who don't know, I'd like for you to take a couple minutes.
Are you originally from the Charleston area?
And a youth in South Carolina.
Here, raised.
Great. Well, my name's Alex.
The team is when the Emmanuel seeks to spread love and
Hello, world, and welcome back to Real Talk with ReZsaun when nothing's off limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. I am your host, ReZsaun Lewis. Now, here on Real Talk with ReZsaun, everything's debatable, so on any given week, we could be discussing anything from sports to music to politics. You name it, we'll discuss it. Now, for those who are new to the show, Real Talk with ReZsaun has a goal of shining a light on the great things that are happening right here in the Low Country. I know that we are coming up on a very big election where everybody's talking about, who we're going to vote for. Who are we voting for? Biden or Trump? That's everyone's talking about Biden or Trump. But right here in the Low Country, we have very important electoral races. And even my people outside of the Low Country, your local elected officials make more of a boots on the ground, day-to-day change of what you want to see around your community. So we need to know who these people are. So before I even bring my guest on, I wanted to send a special shout out to every single political candidate out there right now. You guys are really plugging away. Some of you have been running for the last 2 years, going strong, and you're getting to the end of your race. And I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of all the work that you're doing. I'm proud of all the things that I'm seeing. I'm proud of all the people that are using their platforms to talk to these candidates who are giving their blood, sweat, and tears to this thing. So I don't want anyone to be left out of this. If you have a voice, you need to make sure it's heard. If you have a platform, you need to make sure that people know who you are and what you represent. And with that being said, I want to bring on tonight's guest. Very special young man, straight out of the area. He's an educator. He's been a superintendent. He's done everything in education, and now he wants to be the next county council member for Charleston County District 6. His name is Dr. Kylon Middleton. How'd I do?
Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, sir.
Well, it's good to be here again.
All right. So yes. For those who missed our first interview, make sure you go back and check. I think it was April or May I interviewed you the first time.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
So make sure y'all go back and check that one out. This is going to be dope too, though. All right. So Dr. Middleton, please introduce yourself to the audience for those who don't know you.
Yeah. So I'm Kylon Middleton, pastor of historic Mount Zion AME Church, downtown Charleston, right on the campus of the College of Charleston, where I graduated. And I'm from Charleston. I'm a local. I went to Meminger Elementary School, Courtney Middle School, Burke High School. So all those Burkeites out there, certainly we're standing in solidarity one with another. Left Burke, went to the College of Charleston, and then kept going from there. I had a bivocational sort of pathway in my life. I was pastoring at the age of 16. And then when I graduated from high school at the age of 18. I immediately started teaching school. I taught at Burke High School, and went from there to becoming an assistant principal, a principal, an assistant superintendent, and then superintendent. So my life has been extremely full and rich. I have a son who's a grad student at East Carolina University, and I'm all about public service. So today, as we talked about in the primary, I'm still running hard for this county council District 6 seat, because I think that we need strong moral leaders serving us in these elected positions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start at the beginning. What made you want to get into education? Because I know you graduated early from high school.
Yes.
So what made you want to get into education straight out so early after graduating?
Yeah, I love influencing, the next generation. And although I was just 18, right? So how could I be influencing the next generation? And then I taught high school English, and I taught 12th grade English. So some of them were older than I was. So at the time. And so I went into education because I love literature. Of course, I taught high school English. And so I thought that I could help, kind of make that come alive for young people who it was a credit that they needed, and it should be something that they could enjoy. Reading becomes the pathway to future success. I love being with young people, who are ambitious, and their futures are bright. So I thought that I had something I could offer that could at least lift them, position them, and propel them into the world. And that's what I did for like 26 years.
Wow.
Kind of working on that side, on the front lines, I call it, because when you're especially I didn't, I taught real students, not just those that you find in textbooks, who sit in desks and in rows and bring their materials to class. I mean, I taught real students who had real issues, and I was able to make a difference in their lives by being real with them and loving them and caring for them. And they felt that, and they saw that, and as a result, they were educated.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. I'm not messing with you. So my questions, I want to ask you some questions. First of all, thank you so much for sharing your experience as an educator. You went into education, and you went on to move to, I think it was Charlotte? Columbia, and you became a principal.
Well, I moved to Columbia, then I moved to Chapel Hill. So
Chapel Hill, that was it, because I remember North Carolina, and that's when you became a superintendent.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that before we move into the other stuff.
Well, of course, when I recognized I was pastoring, and when I decided that I wanted to be in education, I knew that, God gave me leadership capability. So beyond the classroom, I thought that I could make a difference in a school setting. Went on to UNC Chapel Hill and got a Master of School Administration, and then subsequently an EDS and EDD in educational leadership to lead systems, and certainly that then enabled me to move up within districts and take leadership roles, to include becoming a superintendent, to steer the entire district ship in the right direction.
Yeah. So after that, did you decide, like, after that, did you like continue with the educational thing, or you're like, I've seen the mountaintop?
Education has become so political, and when you look at, I was in North Carolina at the time. When you look at the nature of just the shifting tides in education, teachers not necessarily being paid what they're worth. There were teachers being recruited from other states, and it became extremely stressful. And the focus seemed to me to move away from students. We were focusing on testing and scores. They started rating schools A, B, C, D, F. They were rating teachers A, B, C, D, F. They were rating the principals A, B, C, D, F. And I had enough years in the system. I got a church in South Carolina, so I decided I was done.
All right. So now you're full-time ministry?
Full-time ministry, yes, and then doing everything else.
Absolutely. Which brings us to where we are right now, as far as this the election. Why throw your hat in the race to run for District 6?
Yeah, so I live in District 6, and the issues that confront District 6 and Charleston County are issues that I care about. So looking at, just the local issues. So I know you talked at the top of this show that there are individuals who, concentrate on the top of the tickets, like the presidential elections and the senatorial elections, all of which are very important. And those very high profile up ballot races, but it's the down ballot races like county council and the school board and those who are running for soil and water, those conservation and or preservation sort of positions that really affect us every day.
Yes, sir.
When I looked at being sort of mired in and affected as a citizen by some of the issues like traffic and transportation, affordable housing issues, issues dealing with infrastructure and flooding. And I continue to, be an outside agitator. I mean, you've seen me all over the place, kind of fighting the power on these issues. And then one day I said, well, when I learned that the current county council person was retiring, I said, well, I'm going to run because, I was not going to run against an incumbent, but I decided that at that time I would throw my hat in the ring because I had something to offer. And I think you need to have a seat at the table in order to make positive change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How would you say that your background in education has uniquely prepared you for this role?
Yeah, so my background in education and also as a pastor, so we can't discount, being a pastor. I pastored large churches and I've served in education in large settings. My smallest school had more than 2,000 students. And so I'm used to managing large systems or large organizations and enabling me to have skill sets that are very diverse, working with public safety officers or school resource officers, working with a school is almost our school district is almost like a mini city. And so you have all of the issues that you would have in a neighborhood or all of the issues that you would have in a city or in a county, you have in a school. And so you're balancing budgets, you're dealing with with constituent services, keeping parents happy, keeping stakeholders happy, educating, young people, dealing with teachers and support staff persons to make certain that, they have everything that they need so that the climate and culture of the school is progressively moving forward. And so all of those skill sets, those leadership skill sets prepare me on the policy side, crafting policies, shaping policies, creating, a winning culture of success. All of those things I can translate, to the county council seat, the tough issues that face not only the district, but also county council.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would you say are the top issues that are currently affecting Charleston County? And what in your platform will help you to fix some of those issues?
Yeah, so affordable housing is a big issue. I mean, people who live and individuals who work here can't afford, or people who work here and, they can't afford to live here. When we look at the skyrocketing prices of rent and mortgages in this area, it's a booming area, and that has a plus and a minus. So when you look at the development, it is not necessarily friendly to those who are low income or those who are workforce middle class type individuals on the lower end of that. And so that's a big issue. Certainly on the ballot as well is a referendum, a two-part referendum dealing with affordable housing, but in the city of Charleston. So, that's one of my, sort of platform items that I'm going to help, deal with this affordable housing crisis that we're having in Charleston County. I'm on the Housing Commission for the city of Charleston. So the city of Charleston is an example of how you can embed and structure, because the city of Charleston, no one can afford to live there. And so in order to sort of bring, press the reset button and the pause button, the Housing Commission, along with the mayor and city council and other leaders in and around the city government, decided that, we have to embed affordability in the structure of development, because otherwise individuals are going to be driving from Orangeburg to come into to work in Charleston, because they can't afford now to live in North Charleston, can't afford very soon to live in Goose Creek or Somerville or all of these communities. As this sprawl of development continues, it continues to then create pockets of gentrification and pricing out, driving up the markets in those areas, pricing out affordable rent and that sort of thing. So the city of Charleston embedded within its own structure an affordability index. And so everything that is being built has to also include, in affordable housing. And so that's a strategic thing to do. It's not necessarily always a profitable thing to do, because when people are developing, they're looking at making as much money as they can. And so that becomes a model. I've been working with that and on that for 4 years. And so that becomes a model that we can take to the county. Now, the county council did not have to, launch a referendum in order to, put the question of affordability on a ballot. They could have made that decision themselves, just like the city of Charleston did, but they put it up for a referendum. I believe it's going to overwhelmingly pass. And as a result, now we have an opportunity to make certain that there's a housing trust, so that when, all of this development and sprawls continue in and around the county, Mount Pleasant, where else can you go? North Charleston, where else can you go? Bedroom communities like Ladson, there's a part of Charleston County that's Ladson, part of Charleston County that's Somerville, part of Charleston County, all of Lincolnville. Those communities become the next, frontier, because where else can, some of these developments go, except now they're going out into the outerlying areas. So now with this affordable housing trust, we will be able to leverage those areas, and not those areas particularly, but level areas where we can embed affordable housing, so that individuals don't have to be pushed out of this region in order to live and thrive where they live.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's very good. Affordable housing for sure. Question. So I know that a lot of people have been talking about the issue of like in economics. Economics, you need money to be able to do things, and you talked about being able to afford to live in Charleston. Maybe some people don't know, or maybe I need a clarification as well. Is the mandatory minimum wage, is that something that Charleston County could have any say so in the state of South Carolina?
Right. So yes, any municipality can then raise. So there's a federal minimum wage, and we know that that's not even a livable wage.
Right.
And so I personally, and when I say we, organizations in which I'm a part of, like the Charleston Area Justice Ministries, the Poor People's Campaign, and we had the Moral Revival with William Barber right here at my church, Mount Zion. We're fighting for 15, because $15 seems to be, it's still not enough, but that gets individuals above the poverty index. And so when we look at individuals who are hourly workers, they have to work 10 jobs in order to be able, and just like I just mentioned a minute ago, to pay rent, to be able to also, pay their bills like light bill, water, gas, whatever the additional bills. And when you have children, to even be able to meet the needs of those children. So yes, individual municipalities can then, create ordinances and or laws. The state can do it. There is no state minimum wage. So there is a real moral imperative in South Carolina for leaders to stand up and demand it. There is no way. I don't know if my son is 24 years old and he cannot live off of a minimum wage.
Right.
And so we have to come to a place where we demand, because most individuals who are then affected by this are individuals who look like me, who look like you.
Right.
And so we have to raise that, and Joe Biden is talking about that. And certainly I'm not, I voted for Joe Biden, so I may as well say it,
Do what you do.
So, yeah. And so he's pushing to raise that federally. And then that will, if the federal minimum wage rises, it'll trickle down to those jobs. And so, but definitely we don't have to wait for the federal level to do that. We can do that locally.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to make sure I asked that question, because again, I think it's important that people understand the power of local offices. A lot of times, we get so caught up in the election, but we have the responsibility as community stakeholders and as constituents to hold our elected officials' feet to the fire. And that's one of the things. If we say that's something we want, then we as the people must push for that kind of thing. And I see Pastor Dixon in the comment section. I want to shout him out, because I know the fight for 15 is something that he's very, very ardent about as well.
He and I are on the front lines. He's my partner in that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about industry. A lot of industries come to the area recently. Do you feel like the industries that have come are paying their fair share to make sure that that the schools and that the recipients of the tax money can benefit the people who need it the most?
So again, we have to look, municipality by municipality, because again, when we're attracting these industry to various areas, the various county councils or the various councils, meaning city councils or town councils, negotiate with those industry exactly what they are going to give and or what they're going to take.
Mhm.
Personally, especially working in the city of Charleston on the housing commission, we have insisted and demanded that there be parity. So if you're building a development, then there should be parks, or somehow the developer should then embed green spaces that would be afforded to the residents, so that they can have a space or a place the children can congregate and play and that sort of thing, where they can really have good lives, and fire stations equidistant or whatever. So all of those things are planned, and all of those things should be demanded from developers. If we're giving you the opportunity to come and develop in our area instead of creating concrete jungles, what else can you put in this community? What else can you give? And many of them, and we've seen this nationally, or even on the larger level with Trump and these individuals who pay no taxes as business people. They love that. They love these corporate loopholes whereby they can come and they can dig and drill and build big and tall in areas and give nothing to the communities, and they can walk out profiting, and they have left not even revenue on the table for those communities. And so I think that it would become incumbent upon us as we're moving forward to make certain that we have these businesses or these developers have skin in the community game.
Absolutely.
And so that when they're developing something, the community also gets something tangible, something resourceful, something needed that will make that community livable, forever, for as long as it's there.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you. And I know I want to make sure people understand, I don't send my questions in advance. I like to let the conversation flow. So, I appreciate your willingness to answer these questions, because again, I did not ask these questions in advance. Right. I do want to ask you about this question. District 6, I'm not sure if District 6 encompasses this area, but there's a large swath of Rivers Avenue that's a food desert.
Yes.
In my opinion, I'm from North Charleston, so I have a great affinity for the city of North Charleston. Mr. Hezekiah Grice, I'm going to use his comment just to preface it. He says there's 5 liquor stores in a 3-mile radius, but not one grocery store. What can we do to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen, where there are more grocery stores and more liquor stores in a 3-mile radius than grocery stores for a whole community?
So Hezekiah is my good brother, and I thank him for that point of awareness. And certainly it's true. And this is where we have, when I talk about moral leadership, we have to have individuals sitting on that council that will call that out. That is dead wrong. I live in Grand Oaks, right? And when I moved to Grand Oaks, certainly there was no Harris Teeter. You could go all the way to Bilo, that was on the 61 side, or you can go to Publix, that was on the Savannah Highway side, or you can go all the way up to Harris Teeter, that was on Sam Rickberg Boulevard. What did they do? They built so they are building in that community infrastructure and shops and amenities that would then make it comfortable. I can walk to the Harris Teeter, right? And many people in my community do. It is dead wrong when individuals live, and I know there's stretch, that's not in my district, but certainly once I'm elected, the whole county, right?
Absolutely.
The whole county, we're making decisions about issues that impact everybody. I'm certainly elected from District 6, but I am sensitive to the entire county, particularly that area and Rivers Avenue, because they look like me. And certainly when we look at communities that are lower income, communities that are poor, as we consider, as individuals consider them, that they may be poor economically, but they're not poor, as far as their spirit. And so, when not putting in those communities grocery stores and other resources where their lives can, have you ever gone to those corner stores and you're trying to buy things and they have those prices jacked up and you already have limited funds, you're making minimum wage, and how can you afford any of that? And then you have to take 2 or 3 buses even to get all the way up to to the Walmart or I guess used to be a red and white over there somewhere, but I think even that's gone. And so somebody has to call that kind of thing on the carpet and demand that those individuals who live in that area, the same way they're doing it in Grand Oaks and on Beast Ferry Road, they deserve the same types of amenities. These are people, these are human beings. And so we should not have difference or preference or priority based on where people live, based on their socioeconomic background, based on who they are. We should be fair, and we should make certain that every community has those basic necessities.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I just think I think it's important that in these times we have these discussions. You know, a lot of times, I mean, and I think I've become guilty of it a lot of times too, is like we get in and we're so happy to talk, but we don't actually ask how do we do, like what like who has the power to do what. So thank you so much for answering these questions. I think it's really important. We have another one from Dustin Rhodes all the way in Baltimore. Thank you, Baltimore, for watching. My guy, but he's from here, so he cares about it. He says, Dr. Kylon, he says, what will you do to address the influx of money that Charleston receives, especially from tourism and new developments, but does not distribute to the surrounding communities?
Yeah, I've had that same concern, Dustin, and thank you for raising that, because when you look at the profit margins coming into this city, you know, my church, I work in the city, right? And when I first came here, and you know, there's no real parking, and parking in the garage each week, I would go broke just having to feed the meters and park in the garage. Right. So I do understand. And then they hiked up those prices and extended, you know, the hours so that you're parking until 10 p.m. you have to pay if you're coming down here. So I appreciate that question, and I recognize the wealth of this city and the wealth of this county, because it's not only the city of Charleston, but everything in this region. We have a one Charleston region to include Berkeley, Dorchester, and Charleston counties. And so when we look at the wealth that, you know, is generated in this region, now to include the International African American Museum, where does that come back to us? Where does that come back to the individual communities? And so again, it's part of my platform to get on county council to provide the strong moral leadership to swing the justice dividend back to the people. Somebody has to be fair. Somebody has to, when these issues come up on council and these issues come up in the neighboring municipalities, you need the leaders to be sympathetic to that, because guess what? I have been personally impacted by that. I felt that, and I still feel it today. Yeah. And so when we have individuals serving us who have no impact, in fact, they too also, you know, seem to get a little bit more as a result of those deals. I don't know, somehow they get some sort of, you know, they get enriched somehow. Yeah. And so, you know, so there seems not to be anyone looking out for the little person. And so it would be me, you know, who would be raising those red flags and reminding, especially as we're looking at areas like tourism, hospitality, these big, you know, sort of, industry in our area, that there should be fair sort of philanthropy into our communities.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
And they should have to report out. Like when you go to Walmart has, you know, gave back to schools, or gave, you know, this amount, gave back to the community, $1 million. When you go in Harris Teeter or go into grocery stores, they have a board up as soon as you walk in, if you pay attention to it, saying how much they have given, you know, to the community. And I'm not talking about just in goodwill. I'm talking about in economic enrichment, the empowerment, you know, through economics. And so this is how we begin to lift our communities, because we're patronizing you. So we need you to sow back into collectively back into us.
Absolutely. I'm going to start the wrap, but I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. First question I want to ask you is, what is the biggest difference between you and your opponent in this race?
So it's clear. I'm a Democrat, you know, I'm a Democrat, and my opponent is a Republican. I voted for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and all of these others who will then kind of move our communities, particularly the Black community and all of America. Our country is in a mess. We are in a crisis. We have a problem at the top. Republicans are complicit. They are emboldening Donald Trump. My opponent is a Republican who is voting for Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, and that whole slate. Tell me if you can't see a difference. There is a difference. And so, you know, I know you're going to have him on, and that's great, but we ought not be confused based on, values and individuals who share. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Let me tell you one thing. I know what work means, hard work means, in order to be upwardly mobile. And I'm a pastor of a historically Black church. I recognize struggle, right? And so there is a clear difference. I'm on the streets when we were demonstrating and are still demonstrating, marching and demanding. I'm fighting for 15. Yeah. And so, and he talks about how, he's, all the Black employees at his business, they're making more than the minimum wage. Well, how much are the white employees making? Because is there still parity, or is there equity in that? Because if Black employees make a little bit more, I'm going to check those books. Because if you're making that kind of broad, bold statement, then I want to see what everybody else is making to make certain that there is, some sort of wage equality in that industry. So to make that as a point, that doesn't impress me, because, we've always, the national index shows that Black people get paid less than white people. And so we have to make certain that we have some kind of balance. So there's a clear difference. In the primary, you had two good Democratic brothers kind of fighting out for the same seat. So it was unfortunate, but we lift each other. We don't tear each other down. I'm not tearing down, the individual who's running against me. I'm just saying he is a Republican, a Trumpist, and certainly his values are not our values.
Okay. Well, I guess you dropped the mic there. I guess the final question I'll ask you, and you can take this any direction that you want to, make your case. Let the people know if they vote for Dr. Kylon Middleton, the District 6, what are they getting in Dr. Kylon Middleton?
So again, this is a consequential election up and down the ballot. I mean, from every office, every level, we need individuals who are progressive in their mindset, who recognize our struggle, who realize what it takes and what's necessary in order to lift and advance every community, and also the Black community. Black lives do, every life matter, but guess what? Black lives do matter, and we need to come to a recognition. I'll be the first Black person to hold this seat in this district since we went to districting. It's a Democratic seat, but it's not necessarily, it's always been held by a majority person. And so this is a consequential election. We have to look at individuals who have been in our communities fighting and bringing people together. I'm a bridge builder, a consensus builder. I've worked across with Democrats, Republicans, as the project leader for the Illumination Project. When nobody wanted to talk about policing, I was then, bridging the gap between especially the minority community and the police, so that we can kind of end those systemic things that we've historically been on the back end of with police. And so a vote for me is a vote for you. A vote for me is a vote for someone who has come from literally nothing and recognizes what it takes in order to move communities forward. I'm ready to get to work. I can't do it without you. I need everybody. I know we have individuals who are kind of paid off and sold out, and they're working to try to split and confuse people, but I'm not confused. Let me tell you one thing. I recognize truth will always stand. And from me, you get transparency. From me, you get honesty and fairness. From me, you get engagement. I'm back here again, ReZsaun, not because you came tracking me down. I came tracking you down because I knew that your listeners were important. I recognize that this is an opportunity we cannot miss, and we can't take anything for granted. Look at when this election is over, I've left everything on the field because I'm giving it everything I have. Now, why am I running so hard? I have a church. I've retired fully from another career, but I believe in public service. And from me, you will get a public servant who is looking out for you.
Wow. November 3rd. Oh, and the polls are open now. Oh, I do want to make one more question. I'm sorry. You really mic dropped on that one. And I really want to let you mic drop on that one. But I want to ask every single candidate this. Why should people vote?
People should vote because, let me tell you, this country, if you don't vote, we'll have a repeat of this mess that we've had for the last 4 years. If we've never known how important voting was, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but lost in the Electoral College based on the splitting of hairs, of minute numbers of individuals that then cause part of the electoral college vote to go per state, to the other person. And as a result, we have this person that we have now. And so your vote matters. Your vote counts. Some people feel like, oh, my vote won't count. Let me tell you, I wouldn't have won the primary if your vote didn't count. The margin is 52%. And so please, we have to, we always, and we talked about this in the primary, that, people make the statement that folks died in order for us to have the right to vote. Yes, individuals did die so that we could have the right to vote, but your vote is really a passport to change. If you want things to change in your community, you want things to change in your life, you want your minimum wage to be raised up to $15, you need to get people around the table who's going to make that happen. If we don't vote, we keep electing the same folk who do nothing for us, and we are no better off as a result. They give us crumbs, and we're kind of satisfied with that, but we want the whole pie. And so we need to go out, plan your vote right now safely, especially during this pandemic, but vote. Because when we vote, we become forces to be reckoned with. So be a force and don't sit on the sideline.
Absolutely. There we will mic drop. Let them know where they can find you. If they want to support you, if they want to ask you more questions, how can they reach out to you?
They can go to kylonforcouncil.com.
This has been an amazing interview. Your energy. I love your energy. I love you're one of the few people that I'd say probably has as much energy as I do and does as much as I do. So you, sir, are dope. I appreciate you. As always, I support you, and I want to see what's best for you. I want to see you win in November, and I'm pretty sure the guy who's running against you won't like hearing me say that. But he canceled our interview for tomorrow anyway, so I'm not tripping.
Oh, good.
All right. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. You guys have been dope, man. Just so y'all know, my music. Let me turn my music up. Yeah. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching this week. Reminder that the Local Celebrity Spotlight shines every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. where I interview my local celebrities and unsung heroes. Tomorrow I am actually doing a candidate forum. All right. I'm doing a candidate forum tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Tomorrow from 7 to 10 p.m. there will be candidates with 15-minute slots that will be coming on and talking about their platform. 15 minutes apiece, starting at 7 all the way until 10 p.m. 15-minute slots. I have this Bobby Joe O'Neill who's coming on. Let me make sure I get my list. Sorry, I don't miss anybody. Miss Bobby Joe O'Neill, who's running for Charleston County Coroner. Ben Pogue, who's running for the 9th Judicial Circuit Solicitor position. Ralph Prelo, who's running for BCSD School Board District 7. Elvin Spates, who's running for Charleston County Constituent School Board District 10. Courtney Waters, who's running for the Charleston County School Board North area. Erica Coakley, who's running for Charleston County School Board District 10. Kristen French, who's running for Charleston School Board North area. I also have Regina Duggins, and I just added Francis Baylott III, who's also running for Charleston County School Board. Listen. We need to hear these people. If you don't get nothing else, if I don't do anything else, I'm gonna make sure you had an opportunity to hear them. I didn't turn anybody away based on party. I didn't turn anybody based on ideology. I didn't turn anybody away. So if they're on this show, it's because they wanted to be here and they wanted you to hear them because they respect your voice. I'm not voting for anybody that doesn't respect my voice. Period. So I just want to make sure I say that, and I want to. Tomorrow night, please tune in. You want to check that out. If you are doing something in the community that you would like a light shined on, please reach out to me on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrezaun.com so we can discuss getting you on the show. This and all my shows, in addition to the Car Chronicle series, is now available for your listening pleasure via Apple, Google, Spotify, and any place you can find podcasts, soon to be Pandora. You can also find it on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrezaun.com. If you'd like to be made aware of when I go live, because sometimes it is unscheduled, please be sure to click on the follow or subscribe tab and turn on the notifications so that you will know when something new is posted to the page. In the meantime, follow me on YouTube. I usually ask y'all to follow me everywhere else. Just follow me on YouTube because that's where I can make money, and I would appreciate it if y'all help me make money for doing this because I like doing this a lot, but it's a lot better when I make money for it. Feel free to leave comments, questions, or whatever else you like to say in the comment section or the message section. I love reading your messages and getting your feedback, even if it's negative. even if it's negative. If you watch the show and you're like, yo, I hated what you did today, let me know why you hated it. I don't want you to tell me how great I am. I only want to become as great as I can possibly become. And that only happens with honest feedback. With that being said, I want to thank y'all. Thank you, Dr. Kylon Middleton. Again, I wish you all the best of luck. And always remember that God is everything, and without him, we are nothing. So never forget where your help comes from. And if a man doesn't stand for something, he's bound to fall for anything. Now that is Real Talk. I will see y'all tomorrow night. Peace.